Okay, so obviously your company is quite large now, but I would love if you could just kind of talk us through what your background is and what got you interested in selling a product like this.
Sure. Thanks. First of all, thanks for having me on. My background is pretty diverse. As a business person, I started my career early on as a lawyer, but I've had sort of a few different businesses, kind of a serial entrepreneur, starting out in specialty finance, and then I had a company in the brain health space for a while. But this company came together for all the right reasons, and I can tell you the story if you want to hear it, the background.
I was going to say that I was drawn to the company because of the video that I saw on the company's website. So can you kind of walk us through that, which the video explains your inspiration for the company, but I'd love to hear it from you.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So as I mentioned, I'm sort of a business guy and had invested in a lot of early stage companies. So we were looking at the cannabis market to maybe raise a fund and invest in early stage companies. But what happened to launch this business really was because of a personal story. At the same time, we were starting to look at the cannabis market. I was living in New York, but commuting up to Boston to take care of my parents who are elderly. And my mom got Alzheimer's, and they just needed help in the house. And then my dad developed this back condition that got really bad really fast, and he couldn't get out of bed. He was bedridden, and so we put him in the hospital, and he just got worse. And we sort of ran out of options. We called the pain specialists in, and they said if he didn't get out of bed in the next week to 2 weeks, then he probably wouldn't. And none of the pain medications were working. So I actually got a call from a friend in California who suggested going online to see if I could make a cannabis bomb, because she knew that I was interested in cannabis and had my own relationship with cannabis as an adult. So anyhow, I went online and looked up formulas on YouTube. You can see them all over the place. And I borrowed a crock pot from a neighbor and went to Whole Foods to get the beeswax, called my high school buddy, and I'm Sheppy, I need some dope, bro, tonight, the best that you can get. And so got a couple of ounces of the best weed I could get and put it all into a crock pot that I borrowed from the neighbor and cooked up a batch of pain bomb and then melted in the other ingredients. And when I put it on my dad's back the next day, I could get him out of bed. He responded to it amazingly. And anyhow, sorry, long story, but he got better. He got off hospice actually over time, and I started giving away samples of the bomb to friends and family, and getting all this crazy feedback. And ultimately, that passion project led me to California, where I met my partner Guy Rocor, and Guy's, I call him sort of the artist with the plant, and he's an amazing grower and extractor, and he had relevant experience with some folks that had bought a license in Colorado and starting a business there. So he was sort of the perfect partner to take my one product and turn it into a real company and operating platform. Meanwhile, on the other side, where we had been looking at deals, we started to look at topicals businesses, and it kind of all came together in Papa Barkley.
So obviously Papa makes sense because you're helping your father, but who's Barkley and what does he play a role in the company?
So Barkley was my dog, who was a beautiful 75-pound pit bull who became my dad's dog because I would travel everywhere with him, and he and my father bonded, and he wouldn't leave his side. So I had to give Barkley to my dad. So he was living with my dad for the last years of his life. And when we were going through this experience, it was sort of the three of us in the room, and the dog, like I mentioned, it wouldn't leave my dad's side. It would sleep in the bed under the covers with him. This is a 75-pound pit bull, and just loved him, and the whole experience was so amazing and empowering around just taking care of my dad, and Barkley was taking care of him too. And so I didn't think we were starting a company that was going to invest, and that was Egg Rock Holdings. This was just a passion project. I never dreamed that it would become like what it is today.
One of the things we see with companies that kind of blow up the way that this did is they start with this passion, creating a product for their father, and they put a lot of heart and soul into that product. And then as they get bigger, and more people buy it and the demand is higher, less value goes into that product. But that doesn't really seem to be the case here, because your company is dedicated to creating a clean product that has no chemicals, that's tested multiple times. Why is that so important to you, even now when you've become so large?
Well, I appreciate the question, because I mean, the amazing thing about the cannabis plant and the cannabis market is the immense medicinal potential of this plant that has been vilified and yet can, be the only thing that provides comfort to a cancer patient going through chemo. I mean, it's so the experience that I had with my dad is an experience that other people have had and have on an ongoing basis. So it's so empowering to have a mission. And so, and part of, I think, what translated over to all of our products is just trying to do it at the highest level. There's an aspirational nature to it. We're still figuring out how to be profitable as a company, and and it's hard in this market in cannabis, the tax laws and the regulations. It's brutal. You can't say CBD when you're trying to sell the one product that people, I mean, it's a crazy environment, but the one like North Star for us has always been, and partly it's because it's, my dad's pictures on the box. It's like, it has to represent the highest quality. And especially in this market when like what we're doing is so empowering. That we'll figure out how to build the brand and the company, but it always comes back to the products, and that's the most empowering thing about it. So I don't think we'll ever lose that focus. That's just now baked in as to who we are.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. Cannabis, it does get a bad rap. As I mentioned, I recently moved here from the Midwest, and it's not legal there yet in a recreational sense. And there is still kind of this stigma between like, smoking weed and you're like the rebel or whatever out there. And then I come out here for an internship last summer, and it's a whole different world. People are just smoking joints on the street very casually. And to go back to what you said about it having this bad reputation and that kind of being such a shame because it has such great qualities, I can relate to that as well. I know that it helps with anxiety and pain. Now we're kind of getting to this stage in life and in society where it can be used recreationally and people are understanding and seeing the benefits of cannabis. So from your perspective, what are the benefits of cannabis, and what would somebody who's new to using cannabis need to know? Maybe what products from your line would you suggest a newbie using?
Sure. Well, there's like a few kind of bright lines, and for somebody that is really inexperienced, I think you can start with topicals that don't get you high. And that's part of where I think we've been really lucky in our evolution, where we started. It's kind of non-controversial, to have a pain bomb that doesn't get you high, but takes your dad's pain away. So it's really easy for people to relate to and to understand and experience and say, okay, this doesn't make me a druggie or whatever they were exposed to, or, in certain cultures like the Latino culture where there's just a perception. And so where we've seen a lot is in terms of like changing hearts and minds is there, starting there. One of the things I always try and talk about on the CBD side, if you are starting to talk about taking something internally, is to make sure you understand about the dosing, right? So even before you start talking about milligrams of THC, even to take CBD is a little different because the right way to take CBD is to you take it in equal amounts, and you have to sort of find your level. But it's like other drugs. It builds up in your fat cells. It's a lipid based, and so it's like other types of accumulating compounds that requires that. And so really, what I always encourage people is to, if you're curious about CBD, I would start with if our products are like, our biggest seller is a 30-to-1 and we speak about all of our products in terms of ratios of CBD to THC. So 31 is 30 over 31 parts CBD and just a little THC in there. All of our products are what's called full spectrum products, meaning they don't just have THC and CBD, they have literally 100 other cannabinoids that is in this amazing complicated plant. And there's a whole range of terpenes and plant fats and compounds that kind of work together. We're all about that plant medicine. So that's one thing that for people to understand is about how is the product made, because most of the products are made in processes that like to create a distilled version or a distillate or an isolate they talk about. So I think advice would be, number one, if you're going to try taking CBD, find the right CBD made the right way. Take it consistently for a week and then see the results. Are you sleeping better? And people that have really good results for things like arthritis and other systemic inflammation related issues really will notice that change. And so, yeah, it's a complicated conversation when you start mixing in the psychoactive effects and more complicated disease states. But the beauty of it, the conversation is like the reason we make products in all these different ratios and different strengths is because it's a journey and we all have unique situations that need to be addressed, and it's a complex plant. So it's an interesting conversation. I'm sorry if I go on too long about it. I love to talk about it.
No, it is great to get all the information. You know, I think even living in LA, a lot of the companies that you see that sell products like this, you think about them recreationally. So it's great to have a company that the main focus is actually on bettering your life, not just for recreational use to relax, but also to get better sleep, to reduce pain, things like that. And I know that you've been featured in things like Forbes, NPR, Mashable, Bustle, and I know that you're not stopping now. I'm sure that there's a ton coming soon. So I always like to end with something positive. And for you, I'd like you to speak about any products, events, anything like that that you guys have coming up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We have new chocolates coming out in California that are exciting and delicious, and they're made really like all of our other products. Everything that we do is chemical free, and so that's just a wonderful product that people love. We also are coming out with a sleep suite of products, like a gummy made with CBN. So CBN is another cannabinoid that is getting a lot of press lately. It helps people. It occurs naturally if you kind of ever notice that you bought some weed and you left it for a while and then you smoke it, it makes you really sleepy. There's a natural process that occurs that's from the CBN. So it's a natural sleep aid that we're baking into some products, literally, including gummies, and we're excited about that, solving problems and with delicious, healthy products. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, you're definitely filling a need there. I mean, my dad is like a total insomniac. He does not sleep and he functions fine, but he just doesn't sleep. And one thing that he always does before bed is eat something sweet. So this would be like the perfect product for somebody like him. Your products, they're seriously amazing. Tell everybody where they can find you, find your products, learn about the company.
Sure. So, we're on at IG at Papa and Barkley, and sometimes my accent, which is from Boston, makes people confused. The Papa is PAPA, and AND Barkley, BARKLEY. So yeah, we're on Instagram, papaandbarkleycbd.com. If you want to try the CBD, there's that's delivered anywhere in the country. And then we're in, I think, most dispensaries in California. But find us online, and really appreciate being on the show today, Megan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about this.